Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Comics That Influence Us. I'm Jake Jacobs and I'm with my buddy Kurt. How you doing, Kurt?
Hey there. Good, good, good.
Hey,
Excited about today.
yes, this is our fourth breakout of the Comics That Influence Us as we're making our comic, Turbo Pit Fighter, and you can catch that on our other stream called The Making of Turbo Pit Fighter on our channel. But we started doing a breakout series of the first 20 issues of Commandy by Jack Kirby, DC Comics, and then we started doing all these indie comics that influence us, and I'm going to be sharing some AC comics today because they kind of feature these female heroes, and I want to talk about that. And Kurt, what are you going to be showing us today?
Jose Munoz and Carlos Sampio's Alec Sinner, which was a great inspiration for a guy called Frank Miller's
I
comic,
know that
Sin
guy right
City.
there.
As a matter of fact, on Cartoons Kayfabe, they launched the artist edition preview. It's like 50 minutes long. I only got through 25, so I got to finish watching that tonight.
Yeah,
So do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
you can go first. Go ahead.
Oh, I thank you very much. So, yes, I am going to put a link to Jose Munoz's Wikipedia and his website. He's an Argentinian cartoonist, left Argentina with Carlos, I think some other cartoonists, because the government was getting a little hairy on the side of like speaking against the government. There's a couple of comments. The Enternaut is one, if you are not familiar with. I unfortunately have to get another copy of that because I loaned it to somebody and they have yet to give it back to me.
The
But
Enternaut.
just incredible art. I'm making a statement right here and now that Argentinian artists are at the heart of what I want in my inking. There is an emotion in their line. This is where I start going off into the artsy fartsy part of being an artist and the inker and everything. Um, this I had come across in was it Kimiko, Cimomoc, which is comics backwards, which is a European magazine. Once again, thanks to you, we would pick them up at shows, usually in New York. And it's a kind of like heavy metal book, but it wasn't just adult or seriousness. But Alex Sinner was in there, which is basically like a cop type of guy, but he has all of these issues. He's got a daughter and he's got an estranged wife and drinking problem and smoking. But right here, and it, this is just pure artistic expression through cartooning. I just find him completely mesmerizing and absorbing. So then when you get into the story, they're a bit social political in what they're towing as an undertowing current. And then there's just Alec Sinner's issues and problems. But then there's the mystery. There's some sort of thing that he has to solve as a detective, who is an old police officer. So he still has friends on the. It does all the hard
Yeah, stop
boiled
right there.
stuff that everything.
Hold
Yep.
that page. So as you're
Hmm.
flipping through the first couple of pages, um, I'm noticing a lack of action panels, fighting, anything like that. So this must be
Mm,
a story that really pulls you in, as
mm.
far as the dialogue and what's going on with the characters.
The
But
art
but
itself.
yeah, but I'm looking at that one panel on the right in the middle. It's like an amazing panel of like white highlights and all this black layering, like the
Mm,
foreground, the background, really interesting. It's got the same thing on the left in white. You see how the panels kind of like mirror each other in the opposite way, and you have A lot of white things, and then on the other side, a lot of black things. So is the black and white and the yin yang and the opposing forces a consistent theme in this book?
Yes, yes. And I mean, this is not the only thing they worked on or he's worked on. There's many other titles, and this is just, I think, one of the stronger, easily moved over to Americans title that they had translated. And then you got it. Um, I'm going to break out the Sin City in just a second. I just want to give people the ability to sort of look through and absorb. But I also want to say you have to own a copy of this to really get the feeling and the effect. It's one thing to look at things online or even in digital, but I think the way it reads, the way it lays out, the printing is phenomenal because it's on this great heavier bond, whitish, uh, uh, almost to gray newsprint. So, it's holding to the characteristics of what, they were performing for the publisher and the printer, so it's just really well done. I think the Jose Munoz's approach stylistically is there, but the way he looks into. So here's a good example. I'll even lift it up. So this is a fire. I know this
Uh-huh.
seems a little, there's this is a fire. I don't know if it's a thing.
Yeah, I can
But
see
so
it.
there's a bunch of lines coming down that you always billow smoke. You run one line up one side and then a line up the other side. What he does is he then creates these three black shapes with his brush, the movement of, or fourth, a little one, to create some darkness, and then, you go, oh, okay, so this is coming out of, a trash can here. So using cartooning, you know, the language of cartooning is one thing, but to add that extra depth in there, I just can't get enough. Over here, he does the opposite because this character in this building back here is black. So it is just the lines that are coming through. These hands and the way things, the way people are ugly. That's another big thing I love is is
Uh-huh.
is the ugliness of people or the realness of people. But here we're talking about cartooning and stuff. So it goes from there. But like this is him going for the phone, you know. So there's a lighter, there's a cigarette yet to be lit, his hand, his knuckles, the phone, but it's just
So you're right, and
I
so your theory is that Frank Miller saw this before he launched into the Sin City, and he
I
just
think this is a
total.
part of his, yeah. I mean, because there's a one of the stories where Alec is all bandaged up, so
Uh-huh.
he has all because he's been beaten up. He's always getting in trouble. He smokes. He has issues with women and all
Well,
this
those are
kind of
noir
hard boiled.
stories that, yeah, those
Exactly.
noir stories go
I'm
back
not
forever. Like you
right.
got movies and you have comics, and
Chinatown.
yeah, and I've seen these hard-boiled black and white detectives, style before. Like heavy metal used to sometimes have it. So yeah, I mean, I think the difference between Miller and what you're showing is that Miller used a lot more knockout white, as opposed to like outlined things.
Correct.
Miller
Correct.
Miller
And
would
he
just let the
held on.
whites, yeah, the negative space speak for
Yeah,
itself, right?
yeah, and he held on to Kirby. I think that's the other thing that is that Sin City is like a noir Kirby feeling to it. So,
Yeah, I think it,
it's just
maybe in the sense that Kirby developed his fast style, and so Miller developed his fast style, right? He wasn't
yeah,
going to
yeah,
spend
yeah,
as much
yeah.
time as he would
And
on a Daredevil page. It was going to be an abbreviated style,
and
but
I would
yeah.
consider this a fast style. Like I can't. There's not a lot of laboring, especially when you're laying a line in. And whether you're happy with it or not is not the point. It's what then the next mark you make goes into. Because you're just dealing with black on white.
You just
So
deal with
you
black and
just
white. I
have
mean,
something laid out.
I see a little Guido Crepa in there. Some of the
Thank you.
European
Yes.
influence. Um, it's very interesting the way he decides what's going to be black and what's going to be white. Um, and I think with Miller, there's a lot more of like visual play, right, with it. Because Miller's always looking for ways to knock white out of black.
It's
to
way more
do
graphic. This is
yeah, to
this is more fine arts. This is more fine arts. His is more graphic design.
and Miller has a lot more
How
action,
I
a
feel.
lot less dialogue. So you really got
Oh
in
yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
you got into this story with the writing and the character development.
Yep. This is where I'm at right now.
Oh,
So
you're still in the
yeah, I
middle
mean
of it.
this is a oh yeah. No, I'm this is I go back and forth to this. Tonight I'll probably pick it back up with a nice glass of wine.
Hmm.
And really get artsy fartsy. But as I did in saying with Alfredo Akala, this is the other artist that the book is very close to me. And if I personally, as an inker, run into a jam, I
Hmm.
look through this and go, oh, I mean, he's just like, yeah, this is oh. So he's giving himself a lot of freedom, but he also knows that if you put a black down, it's got to have a white to contrast it. If you're gonna create a white shape, like the hat on this character or the faces on these characters, then you've got to put a lot of black around it. So he's just really basic, yet then his own personality just shines through. But in rap, this is from Euro Comics. This is their English edition,
Hmm.
just to help people get a hold. I will put links to getting a. It's an imprint of IDW Publishing,
Hmm.
and this one came out in 2018. And I think I actually got it around that time. It is number two. I don't know why I got a hold of number two. Maybe number one wasn't around, but you get this like it's thick. It's got some good binding. I feel, it's a great traveling I mean, if I had to grab something and run out the door, knowing I was going to have some downtime on an airplane or something, this is what I'm bringing with me.
So yeah, and I'm noticing that his word balloons have a lot of extra air space around the writing. So, and that's
Hmm.
interesting. I actually don't mind that as far as like bringing your eye right to the writing and the dialogue so that it isn't crowded. Um, sometimes
Hmm.
that, there's a great effect like on the lower left right there, you can see, there's only a couple of words in the word balloon and it's really a lot of air. But then you are sacrificing some real estate on the page, for that. And some of the pages are pretty heavy, and I wonder about that. So maybe he's using the whiteness of the word balloons, in consideration of how much black and white balance you have.
Yeah,
On these pages, it's not
this
that
is some great stuff.
overbearing. Yeah, on these pages, it's really not that overbearing. But he
And you also have
definitely.
translation. So whatever it was originally was, I don't know, maybe longer in. Oh, this is a great panel to. This is what I'm talking about right here. Smoking a
Yeah,
cigarette, inhaling that
they
little
look like
that
they're.
little pot. It just gives you every piece of information. It's obviously snowing here. Oh my gosh, it's just,
Hmm.
if I could only be this good.
Yeah, so he's making a lot of decisions. I mean, honestly, it's not too realistic. It's stylized because
Yeah, yeah,
that if that body was so much in shadow, that face would be a lot more in shadow. So he's having fun doing that face, and I think that's supposed to be maybe like acne or something. It reminds me of our characters in our Turbo
yeah.
world.
Pocking.
Yeah,
Mm.
but the cartoonishness or stylization of the faces seems like it's a signature of this guy. He's not trying to draw as realistically as possible. He's trying to make,
Shoulder.
his style as distinct as possible.
I have another European on my stack. I will be sharing, and it'll be very close to this. But I just to tease everybody for the next episode, I have a Japanese comic um, translated in English that I'm going to be sharing for next week. So that's all I have, my friend, and I will
Hmm.
turn it over to you.
Good one. Alack, The Age of Disenchantment. So for me, yeah, I have some AC comics today. Um,
Love them.
just
One of my
just a
favorite characters is Colt, Colt. She's a backup,
Colt.
and Colt, and I actually
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
hold of the rights to do a collected reprint of the issues in the back of Black Diamond, and got to talk to Don Seacrest and Bill Black about that. So these
yeah.
guys
So
are phenomenal.
yeah,
These
Bill
guys are
Black
phenomenal.
founded this company in 1969.
Yes.
It was called Paragon Comics. Um, the first issue, the Paragon Illustrated, they run for like, I see one here for $70. Looks really interesting as an indie comic. I don't have my hands on it. But he um, he specializes in reprints of Golden Age comics, and then he's also got his nowadays modern comics. The most famous of which is FemForce, which I have here. Um, and he is a company that's well, according to Wikipedia, they're still around. I
Yeah,
don't
he
know
moved into
how.
video. They moved into video.
Oh, really? Well, the history is
Yeah.
it started as Paragon Comics in 1969, the first issue of Paragon Illustrated. Then you had Paragon Presents and White Savage. They had Captain Paragon, which I have seen. Paragon
Can you open
Superheroes,
up that comic and let us see?
1973. Yeah, so let's take a look. Um,
Oh, black and white. Nice. Oh
yeah,
man.
so this is
Yankee doodle.
Plot and Pencils by Dave Roberts. Let me just make sure I'm centering nice. Um, and really, surprisingly good. This guy
Oh,
definitely
it's phenomenal.
hired out. In 1982, he changed the name to Americomics, and then he settled on AC Comics uh, in 1984. The plan was to introduce Americomics to narrow the lineup to a single full color anthology series called Americomics, but things, it changed. In 1985, FemForce comes out. He has members called Garganta and Tara. He made the Giantess concept a running theme in their comics. Um, and they have released stories and anthologies catering to fans of giant women, as well as DVD releases, which embrace this theme in the tongue in cheek style of 1950s science fiction B movies. An
Yeah.
ongoing giantess feature known as Gargantorama has even been added to the company's FemForce title. By 1986, they had expanded to a staff of 25 people in a Florida headquarters. And as you say, they expanded into straight to DVD projects, which collect classic movie serials and other materials in the public domain, as well as low budget films based on their own characters. Um, so yeah, this is some pretty good stuff.
Cosplaying. They definitely
Yeah,
took the cosplay on.
these pages here kind of packed in. They're using whiz bang font, which is endemic of the time. I've done that, been there, done that. Um, and that this is sometimes called good girl comic or cheesecake. They talk about clean lines. I see a lot of standing around talking. Is the thing for me. But some here we finally get into some action happening. And it's a pretty good style. You would wish maybe some of these. I mean, these, like I said, these pages are really packed in. I would love to see like some of that talking head stuff truncated and maybe some of this action expanded on. Because look at this, she's booting this
Mm,
lady right in the
it's
head,
nice.
and half her clothes are
Nice.
falling off. Right, so you got the some stuff going on here. Yeah, this is great right here. Like these
Oh, it
panels
is.
are great right here. A lot of action. I think this is kind of what we do. We really pack in a lot of action and these sequences and storytelling. And here we got some big explosive panels, right? I love this. Here just to dwell on this for a second. Um, I don't like this when they just shade vertically down the breasts. I think that's kind of a cop out. I used to do that too, but after a while I realized that's kind of like a shortcut for what you really should be doing is figuring out how the lighting goes. So this was a great battle sequence. This character is called Yankee Girl, and
Mm. It's
some
a public
some.
domain character.
Oh, okay, really? She's an
Yep.
old timey character.
Yeah, she's an old timey, one of the first.
So you have 21 pages here, and then you get into some ads and the backup here, which is Tara, which is a jungle lady. I think this might be old, but they're not
It
identifying
is.
it.
It
Yeah,
is.
so some of the stuff is circa 1950s, and we'll
Oh
get
no,
into it.
actually. Oh no,
I'm not
maybe.
sure about this. This is
Oh
hard to
no,
tell. It
I
looks
don't
like
think
it's
so.
reproed because
No.
you have these pretty big halftone dots in there, and sometimes it gets a little bit muddy here. So
Huh.
I'm thinking this could be old, but who knows when it's from? They don't ID it. Um,
I'll check the comic
that
book database and see.
Yeah, I'm sure we could find out. More Tara's Tales every month in FemForce. Here's some ads for Good Girl Comics. They had literally named a title, the Good Girl Comics, Horror House, FemForce, The Horrors of the Haunter. Some interesting stuff. Bill Black is drawing some of these things himself. And here's Deep Dimension Horror. So they're plugging and plugging. These comics were $2.95 all the way back in the 80s.
84,
Yeah, this is
86.
94. So
Oh
that's
wow.
not a
Wow.
cheap comic. So let's just span the globe a little bit into some AC comics. Here we're in full color. This is Bill Black's artwork. So here's the man doing it on his own, 1985. This is Night Vale. She was, I think, a different character that changed her name eventually. So Phantom Lady, sorry, Blue Bulleteer, who we have here, eventually changes her name to Night Vale. So I think they move around a little bit with some names. Um, these pages are kind of wide open, and a lot of good-looking girls. I like this. I like the colors of this.
Well, he's relying on the color. I had mentioned that in an episode in making Turbo. And when it comes to inking, there was always this like, well, I'll let the color fill that in, you know.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
those
Well.
backgrounds, especially to the left and everything, those yellow backgrounds going from
Yeah.
that yellow, it's just sort of,
It's a little
eh.
sparse. It's
But
yeah.
they
It's
had
a
to put a
little
book
sparse.
out, man. They had to pay the rent.
Yeah. So he's probably cranking this out. I mean, they said that they had a schedule and they were trying to put out as many as they could per year. He's definitely got some value. He's doing these interesting little shiny lines, so it indicates that they want to shift the color to like the darker. And you see this a lot in manga where you'll
Yes.
have a two tone, but you don't have that separation line. So he's got that little separation line which prints black. And they didn't really vary it. I don't know if you can see very well in your screen, but this flesh tone and this pink tone are like so similar. They should
It's
have
like
went one way or
pink,
the other.
pink and peach.
It
Pink and
clashes.
peach.
Yeah, bad
Yeah.
coloring there. The color's Rebecca Black, if that's a real name. It could be a real name. So,
That's his wife.
oh
That's his
really?
wife.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Yeah. So her color choices. I don't know if she didn't realize what this might look like on press, but it's this such a close color. You might as well not even do it. Here it looks okay maybe, but I would go darker with one or the other. Just to get that two tone. Because in manga, they go really with a dark brown, even if they cut the shape in half. Here's a cool pinup, a double page spread of the artist Heike. I think his first name is Mark. Yeah, Mark Heike. Yep.
Yeah,
And
he's
this is great.
good.
No backgrounds to speak of, but it's showing a lot of the characters of the FemForce. Yeah, it's Miss Victory, Night Vale, She Cat, and then Tara, who was the jungle lady that we spoke of before. Um, Here you see. Oh, there's some. I don't know if this is a mistake, but they printed yellow. She printed yellow here.
On the
Um, and
face.
then yeah, here she
Well,
gets
maybe she's
her
jaundice. Maybe
her
she's
glow
jaundice.
back
She's sick.
here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on because her face kind of looks bad. Oh, and then
She's
yeah,
sick.
does she like activate her power or something? She looks
Yeah.
older and she's yellow, and then here she looks vibrant and young.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Oh yeah. Popping them
Here a little
pills.
bit aerobicized going on.
Nice.
Just to kind of cut
Very
through this
nice.
stuff fast.
Keeping fit.
Look at this. Look at this one. They're going into
That's
a
awesome.
gigantic squid. A lot going on there. Real throwback to
Oh,
the
so
sci-fi
cool.
stuff.
I love
Here
it.
we have a lot of
I love it.
ads. You see the black diamond that you referred
Yeah,
to.
that was one of my favorite comics. Oh,
Well,
Black
me too,
Diamond.
because
Oh,
Paul Galassi.
Paul
That's
Galassi
clearly
did the covers, baby.
yeah. Oh, he didn't do the insides.
They could be they weren't all the good. Oh, Phase One down bottom left hand. I collected that too. I was a
Yeah,
big
this
Phase
looks like a
One. I don't
very
know
early
why.
John Byrne ripoff artist,
I
whoever
think
did
so.
the
I
art on
think
that.
so.
And that's
Yeah.
I don't say that as a
And there's
bad
my
thing.
girl Colt. Here we go. We're getting into a Colt comic.
Okay, let's see Colt. So this is Michael Golden art.
Weapon Mistress.
What are you telling me? This is Michael Golden?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
baby. That's where you
they
got to
don't
start.
credit him. Hold on, is it? They don't credit him anywhere here. Where's?
Hmm.
I mean, this is clearly Michael Golden. This is
How do you
Michael
know?
Golden, but I just know his style. I mean, I
We'll
think
we'll
so,
check the database. I'll put something on the screen whether
but
it
then
is
it
or isn't
changes.
factually.
Yeah, then it
Yeah, I
changes,
mean,
and it's not credited at all. Maybe I'm
well, look at
wrong,
the
but
guy's T-shirt. The guy's T-shirt says Rocketeer.
right, which is Dave Stevens. I'm gonna cover Dave
Yep,
Stevens in an upcoming show. Sequence
you
two. This
better.
looks like different artists, and this is now in the Wild West here. And sequence three. So this looks like some kind of time skipping thing. Um, and then back to the host guy. So I don't know. That was really thrown together. But what a company!
Yeah.
Imagine having 25 people cranking out comics in Florida. In the 80s and the 90s. Um, here's a black and white. This is the year is 1989. The Blue Bulleteer. Um, so some of these characters, they say they they got the license from the olden times, and they were making comics, and then those characters would get acquired by Marvel or DC. I think DC they were doing Blue Beetle at one point and Captain
Yeah.
Atom, and then DC
Yeah.
picked them up, so they had to change the names, even though they were using them in teams, and they just kind of phased it out. And I'm going to show you some Cave Girl, which is a 50s reprints. But just whipping through this stuff. Pretty nice,
Hmm.
balance on the gray tones so that it's not too sparse. But this looks like Bill Black again, and so it really depends like who the colorist is. I would just say no. Too much blank space. You got to do something there.
Yeah.
Put some bricks in or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But getting through the story, you can tell by the dialogue that there's, some juicy stories here, or at least, intended to be juicy stories. Here you got some bondage, some light bondage happening. The Blue Billets here goes into costume. He's got this other guy here. You got some Nazi chick, who's doing her
That's
thing with the
Lady
web.
Luger. That's Lady
Okay,
Luger.
right, that was the bad guy. And then was this bullet guy? That's not the
That's
Peacemaker, is
Blue
it?
Bulleteer. Nah,
Oh, the Blue
Bulleteer.
Bullets
No.
here's a guy. Oh,
Yeah, I
so this
believe
is
so.
Night Vale. Oh, so this is the
Kurt,
hero. This is the female lead, and then I get it. Okay, thanks. I thought it was something else. Here's Rocket Man. So again, they were reissuing movies too, apparently. Or these are yeah. So these are what VHS? No, these are just post.
probably.
I think these are just posters. No, home video. It says produced by
Hmm.
Republic Pictures Home Video, top
Can you move
quality
that over to the
originals,
right, Jake? Move it over to
factory
the right a
sealed.
bit. There you go.
Yeah, these are Rocket
Yeah.
Man adventures, fast-paced chapter plays, 36 chapters in all, videos produced by Republic Pictures Home Video and are top quality originals, factory sealed. They're $29.99 each, and Radar Men is $59.99, $3 shipping, right, which is reasonable. Um, this is fun. They plug U.S. Air, the official airlines of AC Comics. They did that in a couple of other places. And here's some Bill
Right.
Ward art. So this is the Blue Bulleteer in the olden days. The year is not given, but you know Bill Ward. He is one of the. He's Torchy, right? Does it isn't Bill
Yes.
Ward the artist of Torchy? Right. So he was doing
Yes.
some not only just Good Girl and Cheesecake stuff, but he was doing stuff for like the nudie magazines. He was doing strips, and this is kind of just like
Spot
street,
illustration and cartoons, like one
yeah,
shot
kind of torchy
cartoons.
cartoons, and Billboard. You can buy a lot of his original art online too. He had very very
Mm,
buxom women. Wow, this lady's really clonking her head there. But this is him doing just like totally straight up superhero stuff back in the
yeah.
day.
Hey Jake,
Um,
you're coming to the end here, so we want to
yeah,
let
so
these people get
we'll
on.
we'll we'll just do a quick flip through these. Miss Victory is 1989. It's another kind of patriotic superheroine against Nazis, so that's always great. And I think this is Mark Heike art. No, I'm wrong. It's Bill Merriman. And let's see what the backup is on this. And just skipping to it goes all the way to the end, and we see an appearance from Captain Paragon. So he had a lot of male superheroes in the beginning. Then he kind of started specializing in the female superheroes. Just want to show this. These are some of his reprints where he would basically just take old comics, reprint them, put them back out. Cave Girl was illustrated by Bob Powell and written by Gardner Fox.
Gardner F. Fox.
So these are from 1953, 1954, and we can just comment on really kind of like out of place white woman in the world of African tribes and animals and stuff. It's the Tarzan idea, but it was the female, and this goes back to the very beginning of female heroes. I didn't say superheroes, but before anybody, there was Sheena. Before there was Wonder Woman, before there was any
She's one of
female
the first
super
comics. Sheena
Sheena,
is one of
yeah.
the first comic book characters.
Yeah, well, it was. I think it actually. I don't want to say it predated Superman, but Sheena was before
It
Wonder
did.
Woman.
It
Yeah,
did.
it was the 30s. It was definitely the 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is a kind of like a Sheena ripoff, but really good art, really kind of chunky
Bob
black
Powell's the
line.
man.
Bob Powell,
You
so
can't lose
really
with Bob Powell. You cannot
chunky
lose with
black
him.
lines, very just classic, layouts
Mm-hmm.
here with layering and different depths. I wonder where they get the gray from. If these are all reprints, do they have to do the gray over, or are they just, because you can't just
They're
photograph
their own. They
an
do their
old
own
printed
layer.
piece? You got to go back to the original art or something. So
Right.
great stuff there, a lot of value. Here's a backup feature, same stuff, except now she's fighting like these Neanderthal men, right? And
Yep.
this is good. This is good stuff. Good art. It is definitely worth republishing. I mean, I would say this even gets to the level here of the Frazetta or Cadillacs and Dinosaurs
Well,
stuff.
there was
It's
the
some.
title that launched this was Thunda, which Gardner Fox and Frank Frazetta worked on issue 1, and then Bob Powell, because Frank Frazetta left, um, started doing the art for it. And then what happened was um, um, they ended up doing the Cave Girl as a shoot off girl carry. This
Yes.
Black Phantom is also a Gardner F. Fox creation.
Yes.
You look over
Gardner
the
Fox
left over there.
stories from
Yep,
1954,
yep.
1956.
And this character, she's really bold for the times. I mean, I think she's very much an archetype for AC Comics. I think Bill Black really took a shine to this bold masked female,
Hmm.
kind of anti-heroine type gal. She's got a really cool backstory and everything. So
So this is a redo right here. It says that story by
mhm.
Bill Black, pencils by Nick Northey, and inks by Mark Heike. So these are AC Comics bullpen guys, based on the first Phantom story written by Gardner Fox in Tim Holt, number 25, 1951. So this is all
Yeah.
contemporary as of 1980, no, 1990. And so they're just basically taking the old stuff and they say, we got to redo all the art. And they're redoing all the art, but the story's all laid out. And so it would be interesting to compare side by side,
Yeah, it's a good
but
point.
it's pretty good art. The color is a
It's
little
great.
maybe out of place. I don't think you're getting the value. But then you go to the backups
Yeah.
here, and they recolorized the original
Frank
the
Bowl
black
is
and white.
another really good classic
I see.
illustrator and comic book artist. Frank Bowl. Yeah.
Illustrated by
Bolle. Yeah.
Frank Bowl. Yeah, so they took all
Yeah.
the black and white and they recolored it. You can see this is kind of like kind
I
of
think they
blocky.
also augmented her boobs.
You do
I think they, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have all of these like stories.
maybe right.
I think
So yeah, pretty
they
action-packed
definitely
Western stuff here. So that was like an
punched it up, but
eight page or something.
yeah, yeah,
And then
it's
here
awesome.
the final one. It's another 8 pager. I like this
Yeah, she
art
does a
too.
crossover with the Red Mask.
Right, the Red Mask and the Black Phantom, right, together
Hmm.
again. So this is good stuff. And here's Jane Russell doing some cosplay on the back. So the last thing is
Nice.
just this little compact comic I got, 5.95 back in 1994. So that's a lot of money. I don't know why they made it. And this might be a limited edition or what's going on, or it's a preview of something that came out later. But
Repackaging materials.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, maybe it was like a convention special, or maybe they put it in
How many
the
pages is
add-on.
it? How many pages?
Yeah, their number here at the bottom. So we're flipping through, and this is like, looks like the comics that they're just doing, except it's a compact one. Don't know why. Here's some action, right? They're definitely getting into some girl on girl action here. And 20 numbered pages. So, uh, and then here we can see the ads coming soon. Giant woman, giant woman. So they had like some popular stuff with the giant woman. Kurt, I know that this is huge, like fetish area of like
Oh
collectors
yeah.
and people. They're into
Oh
the
yeah.
giantism and the gargantuan women.
Yep.
So that is spanning the globe of some AC comics. I would definitely pick these up anywhere I see them. Um,
Yeah.
and some good stuff. And I'm very interested to see if Bill Black is still kicking around. He started in
He
1969,
is.
and if he's
He is.
still
He's a
got it.
very, very. He's very, very, very curmudgeon now.
Yeah.
So
Well, God bless him
he's
if he's
he's
still
set in
doing
his ways.
stuff.
He's not. Yeah. No, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. I put my collection for Colt together 2013, I think. It was just a print on demand that you can get. I think it was on Kablam. Anyhow, I ended up talking with him on the phone, and I was asking him about everything, and moving with the digital age. He was like, I just do what I do. I'm retired.
Yeah.
I just do what I do. So,
Yeah. He's
but
so he's
hey, man,
still.
that's a great haul, man. That's
It is,
fantastic.
and
Well,
I would just bear in mind, like a couple weeks ago, we spoke about Hero Graphics. I think we did this in a regular Turbo episode, but Hero
mhm.
Graphics is another one that had these kind of like superhero ladies, battling it out, and they had the Flare, the Tigress, and a few others, the
Yeah, we're
Icicle.
definitely we're working in the same lines. I mean, we're not outside of it. We're definitely inside of it. It's just you know, our version, and that's the Turbo Pit Fighter
Right,
version.
we do a
So
sci-fi, and we don't really have a superhero team yet. I'm working on a superhero team, which is going to be Esoterra and Chromita and Hellclaw, but that's long away. I'm just in the planning stages right now and doing some treatments, and so I do intend to kind of expand the line, and they're not going to be as burly as Turbo, but they'll definitely be muscular and strong, and they'll be
well
kicking ass.
defined.
Yeah, yes, they'll be kicking ass. I mean, there's no way a chick
Awesome.
with like these little arms is going to be like beating all these Neanderthals. I'm sorry, this is just fantasy. You got to put a little realism in it, right? But
No,
we're
no, you don't.
like this one, right? Like these are some strong looking ladies here, right? This is
Yeah,
like
that's a
really,
real. I love that
they
pose.
really started making them like a lot more built and a lot more like muscly and compact. I
Awesome.
guess I
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see where the action starts. Here it goes, and they do. I think AC is guilty here and there of like kind of like the upskirt angles, but not as like
Hmm.
blatant. Yeah, here we go. So that's she's got some definition here. I would say some turbo influence here, right? I mean, she's beating the
Yeah,
crap out
yeah,
of this
it's looking
guy. He's a
good.
lot more muscly. That's what happens if you're American and you're patriotic. You just get all this extra burst of energy to get not to kill Nazis, right? To beat them up.
Right.
Ever since the
Well,
40s.
let's let these people get back to whatever they're doing, which is probably having to do with reading, collecting, maybe even writing and drawing their own comics. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
look, make comments. Put them in the comments of what you want us to check out. We're really into black and white. They don't have to be
Not always,
just
but yeah,
American comics.
yeah,
Like I said, I am going to head over to Japan with a very, very old Japanese comic in black and white, not Astro Boy. And
yeah.
but
Super.
yeah, we're looking for anything in those thing. We did have a comment where somebody was asking about Roach Mill. Did you ever get into Roach Mill?
Roach Mill.
He was
No,
printed on his own, and then
I
he got
mentioned the
into Dark Horse.
no, I never mentioned Roach Mill. I mentioned the Roach, which was a character by Ray Felix, but I don't even know if we were on
Yeah,
air when I mentioned that.
no, I don't think we are.
Right.
But other than that, I say thank you for joining us. We also are making a comic book, Turbo Pit Fighter, every week on Sundays at 11 o'clock. Jake and I get together and we talk about
Right.
comics, Turbo
Looks like
specific, and those things that revolve around comics. That's a page that is being penciled right now and being finished, page 13 of Turbo Pit
yep, I'm
Fighters.
just
So
doing the finishing touch and I'm
check
ready
us
to
out.
move on. Yeah, so check out our
Awesome.
other series and yeah, thanks a lot, Kurt. So we'll be right back here next week
Awesome.
and you guys can go ahead and just binge away.
Nice. All right, Jake, I'll see you next week.